Okay, so let's have a look at working 6 or adjustment 6 of the bank for Ryan Limited manufacturing account 2016. So saying the figure for the bank in the trial balance has been taken from the firm's record. However, a bank statement dated the 31st of the 12th 2015 has arrived showing an overdraft of 36,300. Comparison of the bank account and the bank statement revealed the following discrepancies. So a check for 800 received from a debtor has been dishonoured. So that means that we couldn't cash it in. So it means that we need to increase the bank overdraft by 800 and increase the debtor's amount that they owe us by 800 because this has been dishonoured, it hasn't been paid. So when we went to cash the check, the bank said there's no money there. So that means that there's less money in our bank account, so the bank overdraft goes up, and then there's more money that we're owed by the debtors. Rent for 5,100 for 6 months ending the 30th of 4th 2016 has been paid directly into the firm's bank account. So because we're doing these accounts for 2016, there's 4 months prepaid. So we need to see how there's 4 months prepaid for next year. So there's 2 months to include in this year's expense. So your bank needs to increase, and then we need to do an adjustment then for our rent as well. And then a check for 2,000 issued to a supplier had not been presented for payment. So if it hasn't been presented, well, then no money has left or gone into our bank account. So we don't do anything with that. We just leave it as it is. So let's have a look at the first one. So first of all, we need to get our bank, see how much is in our bank account. So our bank up here, 42,600. So remember that's an overdraft. So we had a check then was dishonoured for the first part for 800. So because this didn't go into our bank account is going to increase by 800. So we also need to increase our debtors. So we have an adjustment for debtors. So we go back up to our debtors adjustment, which is working 5. And the amount that we have is 37,000. Check needs to increase by 800. So that means our new debtors figure that goes into our balance sheet. Your current assets is 62,200. So that's going to go into your balance sheet as a current asset. So you need to add that on. So 37,800, 37,000 plus your 800 because they owe us 800 because you're 37,600. So your balance sheet current asset is 37,600. So that's the first part done. So check for 800 received from a debtor has been dishonoured. So our bank overdraft needs to increase by 800 and our debtors need to increase by 800. Then the second part then, it says that rent of 5,600 was paid directly into the firm's account. So our bank overdraft is going to go down by 5,100 because we received that money that goes into your balance sheet as a current liability. Then we need to calculate how much the expense is for our rent. So we've got 5,600 or 5,100. 4/6 of that is for next year. So 5,100 multiplied by 4 divided by 6. That gives you 3,400 as prepaid, so that goes into your balance sheet as a current liability. And then the remainder then of the 5,100, multiply that by 2, divide that by 6, gives us 1,700. So that's how much we need to add on to our rent to find the expense. So our rent in our trial balance is 8,500. We need to add on the expense for this year, which is 1,400. So that means that our rent figure that goes into the profit and loss is 10,200. So 2 parts to that question. So remember that you need to adjust your bank and you need to adjust the corresponding account. So the first part was the check that was dishonoured. So you're going to increase your bank overdraft and you're going to increase your debtors. And then for the second part, then you're going to decrease your bank overdraft because we got an extra 5,100. And then we just made a little adjustment to find out what is the new expense for your rent, because 1,700 is for this period and 3,400 then is prepaid for your next period. and that is working 6 or adjustment 6 done for Ryan Limited manufacturing accounts.